So, to complete our little introduction for this week, let's talk about what we're going to do in the class. There are basically two assignments that will be due weekly from you having to do with this part of the class. There will be a weekly forum. It will be focused on articles that I'm assigning, and those will appear very shortly. And you'll read that article, you'll comment to me in response to me, and then to classmates. The second thing that I'm going to ask you to do is a reflection on the video lectures. A, um, I really don't want more than 2 pages. If you feel like you need to write 2 pages, that's okay. 1 page would be better, I think, because I'm not trying to get you to I want your analysis to be somewhat scholarly, but I want it to be really personal. The emphasis is really much more on the personal. You don't need to footnote it. You don't need to do anything like that. But in terms of the writing style, I want a more formal writing style. It just makes it easier to read and grade. But in terms of like footnotes and cover pages and page numbers, if those are things that you really don't need to do, as long as I know who it's from, which I should be able to tell because you're going to submit it online. And if you'll just give me a 1 page reflection of how you take the video lectures and how you might apply that, some of the concepts, some of the ideas to your nursing practice, or how you might think about the world. It may be a very kind of just thought-provoking lecture for you, and you say, well, I want to talk about what my reaction is to this. It may be limited to your nursing practice, but it may go beyond the nursing practice as well. So I give a lot of latitude, a lot of leeway. What I don't want is 2 sentences. I don't want something so brief that it tells me you're mailing it in, nor do I want something so long that you're you're giving overkill. So aim for something like 3 to 4 paragraphs. Okay, 3 to 4 paragraphs typically will fit on one 8.5 by 11 Word document. Aim for that. Aim for good writing style. Aim for good punctuation. No crazy abbreviations like you would get in text. But do that kind of thing and make it personal. It is not the kind of assignment that you're after a right answer. If you are going to think about right answers, that's probably a little bit more related to the forum, because I might ask a specific kind of analysis question of the text, and there'll be these articles that you'll read, but there may be supporting something from the Bible or something from another religious text that I will provide for you, and I may ask you to kind of dialogue with that a little bit. But in terms of your reflection, that you'll see, you'll be dealing with the video lectures. That really is kind of personal. It can be pretty wide open. Please don't repeat yourself from week to week. So sometimes I've had students just kind of say the same thing over and over again, and you get tired of writing it, and I get tired of reading it. And I'm looking for, how's the student growing in the process of, reading or listening. And I'm going to try in my lectures to make some connections between what you're hearing from me and what you're hearing or reading in other areas of the course. But some of what I do, and perhaps most of it, will be kind of unique to what a theologian would do with this particular subject matter. So, in terms of the lectures themselves, this week is all about introduction, and next week, what I will be focused on is the concepts, kind of twin concepts of personhood and healthy relationships. I will certainly bring in Christian scripture, because that's my area. Primarily Luke, Acts, and the scripture quotes that I might give, or assigned readings. You can access the Bible online. I across the university would tend to ask students to read the New Revised Standard Version. One of the reasons for that is it's an up-to-date translation. There's also gender inclusive language, and so it kind of goes with our whole vibe here in the School of Theology, so that works really well for us. It also has the advantage of everyone reading the same text. So for the purpose of this course, the New Revised Standard Version is probably going to be our standard version, if you will. But personhood, healthy relationships, most of what I will do will focus on kind of a spirituality reading of the text. It's not going to be, slicing and dicing a lot of verbs and looking at subjects and objects and those kinds of things. I'm not going to be asking you to do a lot of historical research. When it comes down to history, I'll probably be providing a lot of that for you, and it may be something. In fact, what I think I'm going to do, I'm toying with, is just doing some lectures on the background of Luke, Acts. So that'll be some of the main texts that we'll be trying to deal with, or some background on kind of biblical history. So if I make reference to someone, you can say, oh yeah, where is this person again? How do I figure out who they are? And so just post those, not so much as making it required viewing, as much as just context. So try to help you with that, or provide some links to some other folks who have done some really good work with that kind of thing. So personhood, healthy relationships, next week, compassion and spirituality the week after, and this is all in the syllabus, by the way. The next week, the third week of actual lectures, hope in conversation with and fellowship with the weak. The next week, suffering. That's suffering. You all face that on a day-to-day basis, and so I'll try to add some comments from my perspective about that, and hopefully there'll be something of value for you there. The next week, this will be the 6th week of class. The 5th week of actual theology lectures will be social justice and spirituality. The next week, calling and commitment, something I hope that we all know something about. And then we're going to end with the idea of covenant. Covenant is very much an Old Testament kind of idea. There's a lot to talk about as it relates to covenant, and one of the things I'm going to be drawing special attention to is how it differs from contract and how that impacts everything. So those are the things that we're going to try to do. I'll bring in Fowler from time to time. I'll bring in the scriptures from time to time. I'll bring in and access what you're doing in the more nursing proper part of the class, and have this kind of holistic approach to this course, RNRS 396. All right, let's get started.